Hi guys, in this video I will show you how you can create simple website using HTML and CSS technologies. And you could pretty much follow this tutorial without any experience in CSS and HTML. And if you would like to learn more about CSS and HTML technologies in more detail, you can refer to my HTML and CSS video tutorial, which you can find on my channel. I will also provide a link under this video to this HTML and CSS tutorial where I explain everything in depth. But in this video, so many of you are asking to create some website, so you have understanding how HTML, how you could actually create website and style it with CSS to create a simple website. So I decided to come here to get Bootstrap and just to have, here we have some simple template, and we will be basically creating this from scratch, and I will show you how you can actually do it step by step, and I will be explaining all steps which I do all on my way when I'm creating this website. But first thing what you will need is Notepad++ text editor, or any other text editor will do, but I will be using a Notepad++ text editor in this video series. And if you don't have this text editor and you would like to install it on your Windows environment, actually, yes, this text editor is only for Windows users and for Windows environment. If you are using Mac or Linux environments, you should go for Sublime Text, because I find Sublime Text very good text editor for those operating systems. So, and if you want Notepad++, you can refer to how to install Notepad++ text editor on my channel, and I will leave that link under this video as well, where you can get this text editor which you can now see on your screens. So let's get started, and like I said, you will not require any experience, and if you just have a computer, and you can pretty much follow this video, and this is what we are going to create from scratch. And anyone who just opens this video and want to create and see how to create the website like this with 3 pages from scratch, you can follow this video, and you will, by the end of this video, you will be able to create your 3 or 5 or whatever, how many pages you want of your website. So let's start by creating a directory on our desktop, and let's go right click and go new and create folder, and we can give our website any name as we want. I will give it a name website. Okay, you can give it any name. This is pretty much your website's name, however you can change it at any stage you like. So let's leave it, and now on desktop we have empty directory website. And now let's go to our Notepad++ text editor, and in our text editor and when you are in your text editor, now we will create our first HTML page. And to create HTML page, at the very beginning we need to type a doctype declaration, and this is telling browsers which version of HTML we are using. And all HTML pages or all website pages you are visiting every day has a doctype declaration which tells browser like Google Chrome or Windows or Safari or Firefox, it doesn't matter whichever browser you are using. I will be using Google Chrome for this tutorial. And to create this, we go opening triangle bracket, and then we go exclamation mark. I will make it bigger so you can see, guys, and we write doc type. Okay, and then we, after this with lowercase, we can write HTML, and this is doctype declaration. This doctype declaration basically says all browsers that we are using version HTML5 to create this website, this particular website. And if we will go to any website, let's say we are now in getbootstrap.com website. If we right click on it and click on view page source, at the very top you will see exactly the same. as you see, they have as well this doc type declaration, and this only means that this particular website is created by using HTML5 version. So browsers, when they are reading the continuous script after this declaration, they know that this particular script is written in HTML5, and HTML5 is pretty much the same as HTML. You could write simple HTML, but it's just the latest version of HTML if you didn't know, guys. Okay, so now let's continue, and let's continue working on our script to not waste time and get more in coding. And the first code at the very top is head. This is head, and it has to be written in lowercase, and we close head tag at the bottom. Not like at the bottom, but all tags in HTML, as you know from my HTML and CSS tutorials, have to be closed, opened, and closed. And here in between these tags we will create title tag, and here in between these tags we will say my website. Okay, and this is the title of the page which appears on label of your website, or which is when you are searching on search engines like Google or Yahoo, you see these titles in search results. Those are those which are written in big letters. So that's basically website title. And straight away we will create, I will create this a little bit later, and then we create our body and closing body tag. Okay, closing body tag. After this doc type declaration, we had to open HTML tag, because all pages on the web are in between opening HTML tag and closing HTML tag, and the HTML closing tag usually has to be at the very bottom of your page after all your script, and opening HTML tag has to be straight after HTML declaration or your HTML document or web page declaration. HTML document is basically the same as HTML web page where you're creating this particular page. So the title of this is my website. Okay, and in heads here in body section is all content which will be displayed or which users can see on the screen. So here we will simply write here hello world. Okay, because for some of you this might be the first website, so whatever coding languages or technologies or programming languages we learn, programmers and web developers, first thing we do, we write hello world. So let's save this, and let's save this file as index.html file, and let's save it on our desktop. As you remember, we created website directory, and now we need to find our website directory. As you see, it's here. We just click in it, and now we are in it, and here we type index.html, and this will create the page index.html, which will be first page in our directory. Let's save this, and now to preview this on your browser, now you can say that you have created your first website after completing these 5 lines of code. And to preview it in your browser from Notepad++, we go here on this Run tab, and then we click Launch in Chrome. If you are using, like I mentioned before, other web browsers like Internet Explorer or Firefox or Safari, you can, as you see here, launch in those browsers. But as I'm using Google Chrome, I'm clicking Launch in Chrome. Okay, and here it is, hello world. This is our first website, and we have just written out on the screen hello world. So now we will continue with our website, and let's have a look what we have to do first. So first we have to create this navigation or header, and we will use HTML5 header tag for this purpose at the very top. And as you remember before, I told you that all content which is displayed on the screen is in between body opening tag and body closing tag. So all content which will be displaying on the web page or will be seen on the site will be in between these tags. Sorry guys, deleted something here. Okay. So I can move this body down and HTML, because we will not be working with these. These are just opening, closing body tag, and this tag is closing HTML tag. So those two are at the very bottom always on any of your website, on any of your web page you ever create. So now let's write our header tag, okay? And header is header. It's a, header tag opening, and let's do header tag closing. And as you notice, before closing tag we just use /, but basically this will be for our header. And I can write in here, for example, I could use simply write for now header, so we know that there will be our header. And as you see here under the header there is horizontal line, so we will put horizontal line straight under the header tag. And with HTML you can simply use HR to use horizontal rule, it's called in HTML. And if we go back to our website, we see that under header we have this line. We are just preparing now main structure of this particular page. Now we will need this content area, and for content area we could use section tag, or I will be using div tag. Simply div and give it ID and call it content. Okay, just a second guys, and give it ID, and this ID I will call content, or main wrap, I will call it main underscore wrap. Okay, and this will be our main wrap for our content. And underneath this hello world I will close this particular div tag which we just opened. So now we have, as you see, header here. I will just indent it a little bit so you can see it better what is happening here. As you see, we have our header tag, which is our header. This is horizontal rule which we created, and here we created simply main wrap. And then on the very last tag I will create a footer tag, which is footer HTML opening tag and footer HTML closing tag. And in between these tags I will simply write footer so we can see this footer. So this is pretty much structure of our HTML page. And now we can save it, go back to our browser, refresh it, and we see we have header. This will be content. Instead of hello world, now we could write content. Okay, so we see our content, and we have footer of our website. Or we can indent this footer back so these tags are more kind of readable. So header, content, and footer. Okay, and then we have closing body tag and closing HTML tag. Now around all these tags I could create one big tag which wraps these all tags. I could just indent them like this, and I could create one big div, and I would give it ID of wrap. Okay, I will tell you why I am doing this in a second, and you will understand. Wrap, and this will be main wrap of all content, because as you saw there, div, we will close this here. As you saw on our page is pretty much centered, this page which we are going to create. It is in the center, so we will wrap one div around it, so all other content in this is in between it, is in between this wrap. So now we pretty much are ready to start writing our CSS, or before we start writing CSS, at the very top I will create this project name, okay, for example website name, and we can do it in our header. And here I will remove this header, and I will create one h1 tag where I will say website name, okay, or whatever you want, and close this h1 tag. And under this navigation, okay, navigation opening tag and navigation closing tag, nav closing tag, and here we will add all these three links like home, about, and contact. So let's create three link tags, and it is a href or href is equal to, here will be our links, and then we close this. And as you know, we create 3 of them, and we first will be home, second about, and third contact. So home and about, because as you know, link names are in between this opening tag or answer opening tag and answer closing tag. Answer opening tag, and these are link tags. About, and third one, as you remember, was contact. Okay, so let's save it and let's have a look what we have so far. So far we have our website name, but it still doesn't look the same as on this page. But we will add style in a second, and we will have pretty much all the same content as it is in here. So now we can take this jumbo heading, whatever it is, and now we will add, this is our header. As you saw, we just were working with our header. Now we will add some content to our content. I will put some space there before it and some space, 2 spaces after it. And here as well, for that jumbo content, I will create h1 tag, and I will copy in this jumbotron heading or whatever it is. And let's close this heading tag. And then we will open one paragraph tag for our text, which is at the top there, and we will close this paragraph tag. And paragraph tag, as you know, is for paragraphs or for text. And I will just copy this text, whatever text it is. If you want, you can copy it. If you don't want, you don't need to copy it. But this is pretty much, and you see it's closing this paragraph tag there, and it's opening this paragraph there. And then we have button, sign up today. We can create the same button as well here, and to create this button we will use as well a tag, a or answer tag. Ref is equal to, for now we can, we need to close this answer tag, and we say sign up today. Okay, so as well we have to put it in between these, sign up today. Okay, so let's have a look what we have on our site. So we have this, as you see, we pretty much are adding now content which is not styled, but we will add style in a second. And now I will skip this because this is just text and we could add it in list item, but this is not so important. But we will add this at 2015 company Inc. I will actually copy this Inc. copy, and at in the footer to add at sign we can use just a second, and amp, as much as I remember. No, and copy. This is as much as I remember, and then we just paste this, and we will add it all in paragraph tag, all this text, as you see, and we close this paragraph off at the very bottom. Just let's save it, let's go back to our page, and we see our copy ink is there. So now, as you remember, what we did here, first thing is we created this wrap div, and at the very bottom I can add comment, HTML comment, and say wrap. So we know that we are closing our wrap div here. But in a Notepad++, if you click on tag, as you can see, we can see the others tag on the top, or if we click on top tag, we will see its closing tag. So we see now that we have main content which wraps everything what is on our page. So pretty much we have one wrap which wraps everything. And then inside we have header, and as you see here, we have header which which includes project name and 3 buttons. And under that header we have a line, which is horizontal line, which is just gray line. As you see, we added HR to create our horizontal line, which you can see on our page here. Okay, and then we have this gray box which includes heading, which includes this text, and which includes this button sign up today. And we have as well one main wrap which includes heading, which includes paragraph, and which includes button. We just need to add style to it. And then after this one we have footer content, and in footer content we just have a copyright. And as you see at the very bottom here as well, we have only copyright. And now we will add style to all of these elements one by one. But first thing what we will do is we will center it. And how to center I will show you in a minute. So we will start by adding style to wrap. But to do this we need to create another file for our style. And we need to import that file here in head section of this HTML page. And to do this, just if you're using Notepad++, click on New. And this is pretty much all our style. And first thing we will do, we will put offset rule, which is the star sign. Actually I will put it a little bit later, so I will explain you what is that offset rule. Let's save this file and let's save it at the same directory website which I created, where we have our index file, index.html file, and we will call this style.css. We'll call this file for adding our style simply style.css, and we are adding it at the same directory, and click save. And here now if you go back to our website, you will notice that there are paddings or margins around text, and there are paddings which each browser might have them different. Here at the top is some margin which you haven't added there, but maybe you don't want it. So with offset rule we can take all default margins and paddings from any web browser, whatever browser you are using, and in different browsers these paddings and margins may vary and may be different. So we will remove them by adding offset rule. And what I mean, offset rule is star sign, and in programming and web development star sign pretty much means refer this to everything, and in CSS this is known as offset rules is star sign. And we will say margin 0, and we will say next line we will say padding as well 0. So basically we're removing all margins and all default paddings from our HTML page. But to this take place, we first need to import in our HTML page. Otherwise, that script that style sheet CSS is not visible to our HTML page. So to import, we simply use link tag, link, and we say type is equal to, and rel is equal to, and href is equal to, and we close this link tag. And type we will say text /CSS. However, this can be skipped and you don't really need to use it with HTML5 yet anymore, but I am still using as it doesn't really cause any problems even if it's not needed. You can pretty much skip this tag if you are using this link tag to import your style sheet. And href is, we are saying rel means relating style sheet, because this says that we are this link is in relation to style sheet importing. So we say style sheet, okay, and these are attributes. This is type attribute, this is rel attribute, and this is href or href attribute. And in href we are saying where is our style sheet, and as you know, our style sheet is in the same directory where is this index.html file. So pretty much we just write a link style.css. If it would be in any directory, we just specify directory name before it and put /, but we don't need it as style sheet is in the same directory. And when we save it, we can go back and preview now. And as you see now, all default margins, all default paddings from all HTML elements in this page has been removed. And now we can work from scratch and put our own margins, paddings and style on this. So let's start with our wrap. As I was telling you, we will start by centering all these elements by referring to this wrap, which starts at the very top and is which pretty much wraps all content of this page, and we will give it a style. So as it is ID, it has to be referred with hashtag, and as its name is wrap, we refer its name next. just after this hashtag, and then we opening closing bracket and closing bracket, where we can write all style, and we will say width is equal to 100, or we will say width is equal to 80%. Okay, we are pretty much saying that we want this wrap to be 1/8 of the page, and then we will say float left, so this element is floated, and then we will say that we want 10%. As you know, all page together in horizontal width it is 100%, but if we gave it took already that this particular element wrap is 80%, we want on both on one side of it. I will show it to you. I will put a border around border, 1 pixel solid gray. Okay, let's save this, let's go back, and you see that now we have a gray border, and this element it takes 80% of all page width, but on this side to the right, as you see, there is another 20% left, because all page in width it is 100%. So to center it now, we can simply add left margin of 10%, and that means that here on the left there will be 10%, element itself is 80%, which makes up 90%, and on the right there will be left another 10%, which will make up 100%. So we can pretty much say margin left is 10%. Okay, and now if we save this, we go back, we see that now on the left hand side we have 10%, and our element is in the middle. You can make it smaller or bigger, but I will leave it as it is right now. Okay, and now we will start looking at this navigation top bar. Once we have centered it and we have everything in place, we can now start our styling our navigation. But before we do it, I will remove this border because it's not needed. Now this box is centered in the middle of the page. Okay, let's save it, let's go back, preview it, and you see everything is centered in the middle of the page. Now let's have a look what we need to do. What we need to do is to move all these 3 buttons to the right. Okay, and so to do this, let's go back to our HTML page and have a look what we have. So these 3 buttons are in Nav. Okay, in Nav Tag. So we can refer this Nav Tag. Let's go back and refer simply Nav Tag. Okay, and this Nav Tag, we can, to see this Nav Tag, we can write, for example, we can float it left, let's say. Okay, let's save this. Actually I will give it a background, and I will give it a background color. I will give it red, so you can see what we are working with. Okay, background color red, and as you see, it's just here. And now I will float it to the right, so it is in the right hand side. Okay, we will say float right. Okay, float right. Let's save this, have a look, and now you see that that is floated to the right. But you will ask, why this element, which this horizontal rule line is at the top of it? And this is because it is not floated. We need to float it left, and we can go back and look at this horizontal rule. We can give it ID, for example. You can call it HR if you want this ID, okay, of that line. And then we go back in our page, and above this now you could add it anywhere you want. I will say HR, refer this ID, and say width 100%, because we want that line to be 100% in width in this element, because it's not taking all width of all page, because it's wrapped in this wrap element, and it can take only that width which is available to it in that element where it is inside located. Okay, and then we say float left. Okay, let's save this, and now you see that horizontal line, or this line, is at the bottom. But as you see, this line is kind of light gray, and I have here color ziller. If you want color picker, which I can click on page color picker active, and I can pick any color. And as you see, code hexadecimal code is EEE. I can click on it. And if you want this color picker on your Google Chrome browser, you just go to ColorZilla, find on Google ColorZilla, and you can get this browser as well. And as you see here, I can get hexadecimal code, which I can copy, and then I can use it. So I will make this line as well the same gray, and I will put, let's say, 20 pixels above it, so margin top 20 pixels. So to do this, let's go back and let's go to this color, actually color draw V. Let's save this. As you see, it didn't take and it didn't take color because it's not a font. So to add color, we need to say at first we need to remove all default borders. So we'll say border 0. With this we will remove all default borders, and that thing will disappear, as you see. And now we will add to this, as you know, all HTML elements are boxes. We will add border bottom. I will add 2 pixels solid, and I will give it this hexadecimal, which is EEE. Okay, but not color. We can get rid of this, and instead we created this bottom border to that HR line. Let's save this, and now you can see that line here displayed at the very top under. And actually I said that I will add margin top 20 pixels. Okay, let's save this, and now you see it is 20 pixels under this navigation. And now we can actually style, give some style to this website name. Okay, and to do that we go back and we look at this website name, which is h1 tag, and there as well I can create ID if I want, and I will call this ID name. Okay, let's save this style, and at the very bottom under navigation I will create another div tag. Will not create but refer to this particular div tag. I will put it higher a little bit, and here I will simply say float left, and I will give it a padding 1, so it is only this big as it is. And as you see now, website name, Jumbotronic, and blah blah blah, and all this text from the very bottom jumped up, and this is because it is not floated, and I will show you how you can float it in a second. Actually, let's do it straight away. And refer this main wrap. Okay, main wrap, so it is floated as well. It has to be floated because otherwise, as you see, all this mess is happening. We will give that box main wrap as well 100 pixel width, so it is 100 pixel box in width, and let's float it left. So let's go to main, just add style to main wrap, and we do it as well by using hashtag main underscore wrap, and we are saying width 100%, and we will float it left, and we can give it background green, so you can see where is that box. As you see, that box is this box, which is with title, with text, and with this button sign up today. I just gave it a green color, but we can give it the color which we already know, that we are using this EEE hexadecimal color, okay, instead of green. So let's add this and say EEE. Okay, it's just giving us that gray color which we have here. And now we can add that padding to that box if you want, and as you see, there is padding about 70 pixels pretty much, or we could say Yes, let's give padding, and let's give padding 70 pixels, so it will give padding of all sides to this box in our, as you see, 70 pixels. And you see that box got bigger, about 140 pixels to all sides bigger. And as you remember from my HTML and CSS tutorials, we can use box sizing. So we use box sizing, border box. Okay. And now if we save, we can go back and we can have a look in our browser, and we see that this is kind of already in the center and we are starting to get shape. So let's have a look, and we see that here are rounded kind of corners. So let's round our corners as well to our box, and to do this we simply need to round box corners to this main wrap, as this basically wraps our main content of our website. And we will simply say border dash radius, and we will say 10 pixels. Okay, you can add any other rounding. I added 10 pixels. Okay, and as you see we have 10 pixels, and then you see it stands under this line 20 pixels or 30 pixels. So let's push it a little bit down under this line so we can see that line which is on the top. Okay, and we will say margin top is 30 pixels. Okay, let's save this, let's go back, let's see, and now we start seeing shape of our website basically. But all text here is centered, as you see, and we need to center all text in the middle of this box. And to do that we again go back to main wrap and we say text dash align at center. Okay, and this will center our text to our box. We click and we see that our text now is centered as well, so as this button. So now you see that footer is at the very top, and this is because it is not floated elements, and you know that if we are not floating elements, they are getting stacked up to the top and they ignore floated elements. So to get this footer down and under this our box or main content, we need to give it a width and we need to float it as well. So to do this we will refer this footer tag directly. So we will say just a second, footer, and we will give it a width 100%, width 100%, and let's float it, float left. Okay, let's save this, go back, and you now see that our footer is floated and it is under this box. So only thing is left is to finish this top part. And first, before we start, I will give a style to that navigation. And if we go back, we will have a look. This is this navigation I'm talking about, to Nav Tag. I will give it, let's say, 40% or 30%. So we scroll back to Nav Tag and we will say width 30%, and let's have a look how it looks. Let's save it, let's go back, and we see it looks like this, and this is pretty much okay. And now we will remove that color because we don't need that background color red, as we don't have it in that design which we are creating actually. And if we save this, go back, and we see that color has been removed and our page is getting shape. And now we will style these three buttons, or if you want we can style this project name first, this website name. So let's go and let's style that website name, and let's have a look. Website name, where we have it, so we see that it has ID of name. So we go to this name and we will firstly give it a font weight. Let's give it font weight none. So we'll remove boldness and we will change its color to darker gray. So to do this we say simply color gray, and gray color hexadecimal is 6 sixes and we use 3 sixes if we want to write a shortcut, as you know, guys. And you now see that it is in line with this thing. And next thing what we could do, just a second, let's have a look what we have here. So we have this navigation, we have this our navigation buttons, and now we would want to style these buttons, and we will refer to nav age tag or anchor tag. And to do this I will show you nav how we can do it. We say nav a, and we now referring all anchor tags which are in navigation element, and now we can give it a style. And first thing we will do is we will say display block, because as you know, anchor tags or anchor elements or link elements, they are inline elements. So to make them block level elements, we will say display and block. Okay, and then we will float them left. We will float them left first, and then we'll give padding around, because as you see, these things here, they have padding, these buttons, and they have about 10 pixel padding each. So we will do the same. We will say padding 10 pixels. Okay, and let's save this and let's have a look what we've got now. So now we see that our elements are already kind of floated, and we see that if we hover this element, there is a small gap, so we can give all these elements margin left, let's say 3 pixels. Okay, so these all buttons will say margin left, we will say 3 pixels. Okay, and then what else do we have? We don't have anything else. Now we will need to create this hover effect. When you're hovering, you see this white background, white gray background is around them. So that's actually we will remove these lines. As you see, there are lines under this these our tags. We don't need them. So to remove them, we say text dash decoration none. So text decoration none. Let's save it, preview it, and you see we removed those lines under those links. And now we will make them, when we hover them, they get this light gray, the same as it is here. So to get this gray, we can use this color picker. I will get, it's as well EEE, as you see, hexadecimal, so I will not be even saving it, I will just refer it. And now to make to refer this hover, we use effect. We will use nav a to column, and we say hover. This means when element anchor element in navigation element is hovered, we want its background to be EEE hashtag, as we are referring hexadecimal color and EEE. Let's save this. Let's go back to our site, refresh it, and now as you see, when we hover, they are kind of getting this light gray. And now we will make them rounded corners as well, 5 pixels. So we can do it straight away in Nav. So let's say border the radius of 5 pixels. Okay, let's save it. Let's save it here, and now you see when we are hovering, we are getting pretty much the same kind of link, color link as here. So now let's make this active button, which is home button, as you see there. We will make this blue as well, but before we will get this blue color as well, I'm using this ColorZilla to get this color. I will open it. I will go to my color picker and will copy this color. Okay, then we go back to our page, and we will give this a first anchor. We will give it a class, or you could give it ID, it doesn't really matter. We will say call this class active. Okay, active. Let's save it, and now let's give style to that active class. Let's give it under hover straight away here. So we say now, we simply to refer class, we say dot active, and we will give it a background of this blue. Okay, let's save it. Let's go back. Now let's go to our page, refresh, and you see we got this blue, but we need to give a color white of that text as well, because as you saw in that design which we are recreating, kind of, there is text in white color when this active button is active. So color, we say white, and white color, as you know, is 6 Fs, or we can use 3 for shortcut. So let's save it, let's go back, and now we have pretty much the same design. And then you see there on top of this page there is as well such a gap which is 20 pixels approximately. So we can do pretty much the same, but to get these 20 pixels we can move all this box, which is this wrap, as you see, which wraps everything. We just can give it top part, push from top 20 pixels. So we will go to style, we will go to wrap, and we will say margin top, margin dash top, and we will give it as well 20 pixels. Okay, let's save this, let's go back, refresh, and you see that we have created pretty much the same website as here. So now if you would want to style this button, this is no problem at all as well. So let's go and do it. Let's get this green color. Okay, first thing we will get this hexadecimal code for this green color. Let's copy it, let's say okay. And now we will create this button, and as you see it has pretty much as well 10 pixel or 15 pixel, this button has 15 pixels padding around it. So we can go have a look where is that our button. As you see it's here, sign up today. We can give it class as well, class, and I will call this class BT, and you can call it whatever you pretty much like. Let's save it, let's go to style, and here at the very bottom over footer I will refer to this class BTN, and I will give it first I need to make this element block. Actually I could give it padding, let's say 15 pixels, and display block, okay. Now it's displayed block, and now we say color white, because we want its font to be color of white, so 3 Fs, and background we will give it this green one which we just copied, and then we will give border radius of 10 pixels. You can give it whatever you like. Let's save this, let's go back, let's go to our page, refresh, and you see it's wide now, because now it's block level element. However, it doesn't have defined width, but we can define its width by let's say if we say width 30 or 20%. Okay, 20% we will give it a width. So let's save it. Now you see it's and we need to remove this white line under this text. We say text decoration none, okay, and then we need to center it, and as this button is 20% in width, so it has 40% on each side. So to center it we say margin left 40%, okay, and this will center this button in the middle. Let's save it, and now you see that button is centered in the middle, and it has about 20 pixels, let's say this space above it. So we can create the same space by simply saying margin top 20 pixels, okay. Let's save it, let's go, refresh, and you see we have this page. And now if you want to create another 2 pages, it is simple as copying and pasting these all file content. So what we do to create these other pages, which is, let's say this home page, it's index.html. About us page will be about.html, and we will create that page in a second. And contact us page we will call contact.html. Okay, now we'll create these other two pages, about page and contact page. And we pretty much can copy and paste this all content, except we can change all this content which is under this HR tag and whatever. And you can add there whatever you like. So let's do it. Control A to copy this, Control C to copy this, and let's create another file. Let's paste this, and like I said, remove this main wrap and say this is about us page. Okay, and let's save this, and let's save it here as, like I mentioned, about.html. Let's save it. And now we can pretty much preview it. Let's refresh it and let's click on about link. But for some reason, okay, let's save this and let's open it again, run in Chrome. Okay, so this will be definitely that page. And now you see we open this page, and if we click on about us page, we get about us page. We can put this in another container if you want, in an about.html, or you can put it in h1 tag so we can see it for now. This will be content for about page. You could create here another div tag, and which you can wrap, make it wide in width 100%, and you can float it and add all other its elements inside there. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I will just create about us page, just heading tag in there. Let's save this, and it is in there, and let's create this wrap, so this content holder. So I will create another div. I will give it a id equal to content, okay, and I will close this div here underneath div. Okay, and now we will give style to this id content. Let's go to style, and like I mentioned, we go with content, okay, and then we simply say width 100%. It's on top there because it is not floated element, and it is not wrapped in any floated element, so we need to float it. That's why I'm doing this. Width is 100% and float left, and now it will work fine. If we save this, go back, and you see that content is in content. And what in about us page, if we go back to about us page, we could add here paragraph tag. Let's say P. Let's close this paragraph tab, and let's say here is some other content. Okay, let's save this. We go back, we see that content is there, and we could give, to make this page nicer, we could give padding top 20 pixels and padding bottom, let's say 20 pixels. So let's do it here. Padding, like for top it will be first parameter pixels, for right 0, for bottom 0, and for bottom let's give 30 pixels, and for left 0 pixels. Okay, let's save it, and now you see it's kind of taking shape. And if we click here, we go to home, we click here, we get to about page. But now we want this about page to be active, so on about us page we simply take this class active and delete from home page X and put it in about page button. Okay, let's save it, let's go back, and now you see about page has this active link. And if we go back to home, it's home, about, and simply we will the same way we'll create this contact us page. Okay, we'll just copy this all, create new page, paste it in, and here we remove all, actually we remove all this content, and then we will go to about us page, and in about us page we will take this content div, copy it, go back to this and paste it under HR or horizontal rule tag, and here we will say not about us page but contact us page. Okay, and here is some other content for contact us page. Okay, your form could be there or anything else, and let's save it as contact.html, as this link, as you see here, it is contact.html. so contact.html. We save it, and now we go back to our page. Go back, refresh, and now we'll go home. We get that home button is blue. If we go about this page, content is displayed and about button is blue. And if we go to contacts, then contact page, content is displayed and contact is blue. So this is how you can simply create your simple websites by using HTML and CSS, guys. And yes, if you want me to create more complex websites, just let me know in comments below, and please like this video, as this is important to make it stand out and more people will be able to view this tutorial and all other my tutorials. So if you found this useful, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel, as this motivates me a lot. And yes, if you want other more complex websites like classified websites, registration systems using PHP, you just ask in comments under this video and I will create them for you. Or you could provide me with some link to some website you would like to recreate, and I can write like this, create the video like this, and create show you how you can write HTML, CSS and so on code for that, or any other queries relating to web development, graphic design, networking. Just let me know. And yes guys, see you in next video.